I told my mom what I was doing, she was so confused.
So you build a canoe. And I go, no, it's like under the water. And they go, so you build a canoe that sank. And I went, no, it's supposed to be underwater.
So you build a submarine. And I went, yeah, but it's not pressurized and there's a person inside.
Oh my goodness, how do they breathe?
It's a lot of that's crazy, because people can't really comprehend a human powered submarine as just like a school project.
Take them off in the first place.
So we can put them back.
What we're doing here is we're attaching the control surfaces into the back end here, and this is how we'll control these rudders here. You need to have a lot of control over it, because even just a few degrees in the water and suddenly you're going way right, or way left, or way up, or way down.
It's the tail end of the school year, the season of prom, finals, graduation. But at the Frederick County Career and Technology Center, these students, part of a 2-year high school engineering program, are still in the thick of it.
This is our physical model of our sub right now.
Adapted from the design used by a previous class 2 years ago.
We can try out different systems like drive chain and other stuff to see if it works here, and then we implement it physically.
In just 6 weeks, they'll be racing against teams from around the world. Junior Caleb is the team lead for the project.
Last year, we started some basic stuff with this, like, hey, this is what we need to fix. A lot of it was like taking apart the stuff that didn't work. And then in January is when we really started to start implementing these ideas.
Outside, Alejandro and Matthew work on a mold for the windshield.
We just decided to separate the work into proper workloads for everybody. So March and Jacob have the drivetrain while I and Alejandro were put on the windshield.
They are, if I was guessing, I'd say 2/3 of the way there.
Navy engineer Ed Leibold serves as a mentor for the students. Together, he and engineering instructor Phil Arnold have guided 2 prior Frederick teams through this process. But it hasn't always been smooth subbing.
Last race, for a lot of reasons, we never made it down the course. So I've made it a goal that we get down the course no matter what.
Ed has been part of the International Human Powered Submarine Races since its inception in 1989.
At that time, I think I was 28 years old. And I said, man, this would be cool. So I formed a team. The first 3 races, they were in the ocean off the coast of Florida. And then in '95, they brought the race to Carderock.
The Carderock Naval Research Warfare Center in Potomac, Maryland. It's home ever since.
Okay. One of you guys can take that.
1 week out from the competition, the school year is officially over. And what better way to mark the start of summer than a trip to the pool?
Right now, it's the best it's been looking.
Right.
And yeah, we're all just really excited to get it in and see if it's race ready.
First thing we're gonna do today is we're gonna put the boat in the water and we're gonna try to ballast it.
So today I'll be getting the sub in the water for the first time. Get my feet clipped in and pedal. Definitely nervous about it. I've never done anything like this before.
Lead weights help bring the vessel, dubbed Leviathan 1, to neutral buoyancy, neither sinking nor floating.
We had to add a lot of lead to it, but that makes it incredibly stable.
Then, a test of nerves.
You gotta have a little bit of courage to get in the boat.
As the designated pilots, a newly scuba certified Caleb and teammate Jackson take turns squeezing in.
I mean, you're getting in an enclosed environment underwater.
It's really tight, really tight.
Clipping in.
They're a cleated shoe. You have to paint them orange.
And drawing their first breaths from the sub's small internal air tank.
Once they get in the boat, then they have to operate too.
My knees scrape the bottom every time I pedal. Really scary, but really cool. I think we'll be ready to race, yeah, I hope so.
Relying on pure human power, they join a lineage that stretches back more than 400 years to the world's first navigable submarine. Built in 1620 by Dutch inventor Cornelis Drebbel, This early submersible was oar-driven, a proof of concept tested in the Thames. More than a century later, during the Revolutionary War, came the Turtle, a one-man hand-cranked combat machine designed to fasten explosive charges to the hulls of British naval ships. An audacious plan it never quite accomplished. The outbreak of the Civil War drove further innovation, with both sides developing subs of their own. The Union's Alligator and the Confederacy's Hundley, the latter the first vessel of its kind to successfully sink an enemy ship.
This is the Nautilus 3.5 from Gdansk Tech in Gdansk, Poland. Still in the assembly process.
This is our submarine Calypso Mod 1 from UC San Diego.
In the parking lot, a patchwork of pop-up tents and an atmosphere equal parts science fair project and pit crew scramble, with teams from around the world making their final adjustments.
We are from Singapore, and our sub name is Mekoto. So you can see from the design, it resembles the shark.
This is our submarine. We named it Castoria, which is Latin for beaver, and we're the Oregon State Beavers.
So far today, we got here this morning, got the sub ready for the dry inspection.
And then here and here.
And they're making sure we have all the components we need to pass first try, which is the first time our school's ever done that.
Right next door, the reigning champions, Omer from Montreal.
This is the first submarine in the world to have a hull that is entirely 3D printed. You can steer the submarine a bit like if you would be playing Pac-Man. The next big step is to put the submarine underwater.
Inside the David Taylor Model Basin, a naval testing facility turned race course, Leviathan 1 takes on its second hurdle.
What we're doing right here is we're performing the final safety check on the vehicle itself.
Ryan Hunter is one of the competition's wet judges, as is the team's own mentor, Ed.
Part of this judging is about technical stuff. Do you have strobes? Do you have the buoy working? But the other part of it is also just like, how are you bringing your diver down? Are you paying attention to the pilot on the inside? Really what this is about safety. Right now, we are waiting to see the emergency buoy pop up. Frederick passed successfully all portions of the wet check. As of right now, 5 of the 17 teams have passed their wet checks.
Let the races begin. Once qualified, each team has until Friday midday to run the course, as many times as they can, chasing their best speed. Leviathan's first chance comes Tuesday morning.
We're about to get in for our first race. Jackson will be our pilot.
Feeling nervous as always. First test we did, I accidentally pedaled backwards, so I'm gonna try not to do that this time.
The course occupies just 100 meters of the half-mile-long basin, used by the Navy to test ship and submarine hull designs using scale models. Now Frederick prepares to put their own creation to the test.
This team is in great shape, and they've had a really strong start to the week.
The crew first get the sub all the way down to 20 feet, then grab me. I get moved down into the sub, and then close the door.
Locked and loaded for their first run of ISR 18. We have the great white whale, Leviathan. Leviathan, 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 go! Go, go! And they are slowly warming up their legs.
I started pedaling.
They're taking the scenic route, going to the left.
So I turned the stick to the right, but it didn't seem to help at all.
And Leviathan is trying to find the left wall. Recover your sub, recover your sub. Recover your sub.
I would have gone much of a race.
They did not cross the start line.
And a second attempt yields similar results.
Again, floating up and to the left.
So we have a little bit of work to do.
But whatever the issue, It's part of the process.
Stop, stop, stop. Wait for Navy, wait for Navy, wait for Navy.
We breached the service on that run.
I crashed.
Yeah, a few adjustments, but hopefully we can make another one today and do a bit better.
Aim to do better, yeah.
Failure is a part of engineering. It's not something that should be feared or avoided. You learn from things that break or things that don't work the way you intended.
We thought something was broken with the steering and all this. I came out here and I looked at it and I said, oh no, we're backwards.
Left turns right and right turns left, so I'm just flipping it. But good news is it does turn.
Steering swapped, and a bit of fine-tuning from the pit crew, and it's back to the basin. Inside, spectators follow the action via live feeds from underwater cameras.
This is the succession of all the cameras that we have set up, from the divers to the starting lines, all the timing gates.
Fixed cameras enable the timing team to calculate each vessel's speed.
Next boat is Omer.
We have Omer locking and loading.
They're the fastest boat so far on the race course.
The race timers calculate 2 speeds per run.
Go, go, go.
A full course speed
Omer is on the race course, running straight down that center line.
and speed through a 10-meter timing gate.
Omer is in the timing trap, and Omer is out of the timing trap.
The cameras that they're looking at is just a static view of just the timing cameras, the start, gate 1, gate 2, and the finish line. And they're getting that timestamp on the paper that they're writing down, and then the computer calculates how fast they move.
And Omer has crossed the finish line.
Hugo Breton is the pilot for Omer.
We did some few small modification. My last run, I went, I think, 0.1 knots faster than yesterday. That's pretty much our goal. Beat ourselves every time.
As for Leviathan,
Navy, I have Leviathan for you. They have not yet made it on the course. Go, go, go.
it's Caleb's turn to take the helm.
It's pretty scary down in there.
And Leviathan is on the race course for their first time of the races.
It was going well. I felt like I had control. But then the handle broke off underwater. That's when I started like riding along the bottom.
Oh, did they forget something?
So we'll get that fixed and then get back in the water and race.
Easier said than done.
So right now we're replacing the plastic handle that snapped off with the metal one so it won't break off again during the race.
But for this fix, the race kit falls short.
So we went to the team from Canada, Omer, who has basically a machine shop here.
Bench-wise?
Everyone knows how hard every team has had to work to get here. And that has built camaraderie so that when every team arrives here, the objective is to help each other cross the finish line.
It's Thursday morning. The window to race is closing, and Leviathan is back in the queue.
Locked and loaded on the race course from Frederick County, Maryland. We have Leviathan 1. Go, go, go. And Leviathan's propellers are turning.
I was able to get good control. I was a little low.
Leviathan moving steadily down the course, a little low and left of center still. And Leviathan is through the first timing gate. This is a first, I believe, for this submarine.
Then I know, okay, I'm about halfway.
And they were out of the timing gate. They seem to be picking up speed. Ooh, pointed their nose back down towards the ground. They might scrape the bottom on this one. Oh no, he recovered. Right. No, he recovered. Stop, stop, stop. Wait for Navy, wait for Navy, wait for Navy.
They stopped me just short of the finish line, but we were close.
It could be a disappointment.
Well done.
But it isn't.
Feeling really good, really good. We're gonna get across the finish line a lot today.
These are high school students. The school year is over.
Are you all ready for Leviathan?
It didn't slow them down at all. Making things work.
Just small movements from Leviathan as they find their groove.
Building a cohesive team.
They have their final 10 meters ahead of them.
Supporting each other.
And Leviathan has successfully completed the course for the first time this race.
So, I'm proud.
Ecstatic. I mean, this was like about a year's worth of work, you know, all built up into this.
Amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
With both Jackson and Caleb completing runs.
I definitely have more in the tank. I could go faster.
Good.
Yep.
Leviathan finishes the race in 7th place worldwide out of 17 subs. The Canadians also finished strong with a new world record set. Whatever form it takes, each victory here measured just as much in teamwork as in times.